The Las Vegas Grand Prix is done and dusted. While P7 and P8 is not the result the Silver Arrows would have hoped for, they sure do have a lot of positives to take from the Vegas race weekend. And surprisingly, the team has found something new within the W14, which could potentially impact the W15's development in a positive direction. Want to know what Mercedes found out during the race at Sin City? Well, stick around to find out. Vegas was an up-and-down Grand Prix weekend for Mercedes. As usual, the Mercedes car was a couple of tenths off the leading pack during qualifying. But come the main race, the Mercedes looked a lot more pacey. But racing incidents meant that both drivers finally had to make recovery drives. Lewis from P19 up to P7, while Russell made a comeback from P9 up to P4, but had to drop to P8 due to a 5-second time penalty. Overall, an eventful race, but not an exciting one, and not a race worth a lot of points for Mercedes in the constructors. Ferrari outscored Mercedes by 16 points, closing the gap to P2 in the constructors down to just 4 points. The 7-time world champion gave a summary of the eventful race, as he went on to say. It was a really challenging race. I was grateful that I was able to still come back from rejoining in last to score some points. There are strengths in our car, but sometimes it's hard to extract all the performance from it. That is what happened in qualifying yesterday, but I am pleased we were able to show our pace in the race. George Russell, who also had a contact similar to Lewis, had to make a recovery drive to finish in the points. Post-race mentioned that the car's pace at Vegas was strong and that a podium was in the cards for at least one car. The Brit also mentioned that the team has a lot of positives to take away from the Las Vegas weekend into Abu Dhabi. Today was on me. I simply didn't see Verstappen. He was totally in the blind spot, and we made contact. It was completely my fault. It was a real shame as we were on course for a podium. It changed the dynamic of the race too with the safety car. It feels like we've thrown another one away today, and I am really disappointed right now. It is the story of our season. There are positives we can take into Abu Dhabi. We were in the fight for second on the road today, but we will have to put in a strong showing in the final race to claim P2 in the Constructors' Championship. The Las Vegas race is of low downforce, similar to what we see at Monza. A track with low downforce combined with slow speed corners best describes the Vegas circuit, and that is a combination which does not suit the W14 in general terms. But for our surprise, the W14 was around the third or second fastest car at Vegas. Top speed is something that Mercedes has struggled to get a proper grasp with for the past 1.5 years or so, as we saw the draggy nature of the W14 around Spa and Monza recently. But when we compare the 3 fastest lap times of the Las Vegas qualifying, Russell, who set the 4th fastest time, was the fastest on the straights, which is highly unusual. Also during the Grand Prix, we saw both Hamilton and Russell clock speeds of around 350 kilometers per hour, which is around the fastest we saw on the speed traps. But that's not it. Take a look at the moves Hamilton made at turn 17, around the start-finish straight. Those overtakes require incredible straight-line speed, combined with a good mechanical platform supported with high downforce. That shows that the W14 around the Vegas circuit had much better race pace, showcasing that the team has been able to find a great balance between downforce and straight-line speed. Adding to all these pros, the tire wear at the cold Vegas track was not too bad when compared with other teams. At the previous race at Interlagos, downforce, tire wear, and straight-line speed were the major hiccups for Mercedes. Hamilton talked about how the W14 felt around Interlagos, as he said. The tires were overheating, the car was slow on the straights, no grip in corners. My guess is that the floor is not working. The floor is not sucking it down, so that pushed us to go to a higher wing, and then we're just massively draggy on the straights. Toto back at Brazil quoted one parameter to be off in terms of setup, but he referenced that not to be the entire reason behind the W14's performance drop. Coming into Vegas, Wolff did not provide a clear-cut answer as to what was the reason behind his team's Brazil struggles, but mentioned that his team was able to dig deep and find out faults in their setup which were causes behind the Brazil pace. We suspected that the ride height might be the big factor behind the sudden performance loss, and also mentioned that that the ride height will be a big area of focus for the Silver Arrows at Vegas. And as we mentioned, the team took a deep look into ride heights and ran the W14 low to the ground as possible. We saw the W14 sparking a lot around the Vegas straights, which confirms the low ride height the team were running the W14 on. With the same low downforce package the team used at Monza and Spa, but with a lower ride height, the team had better top speed numbers and good cornering speeds to match that top speed. That sort of confirms that the ride height was the X factor for the team's Brazil troubles. But the Vegas pace also confirms that the new floor is taking the team's aerodynamic development in the right direction. This is incredible news for Mercedes. A huge positive, actually, considering that these were the aspects that Mercedes struggled with at the Interlagos circuit. We have one more race in 2023, the upcoming Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So what about that? Abu Dhabi, a high downforce track with one long straight. With the W13, Mercedes found it difficult to find the compromise between downforce and top speed due to the W13's draggy nature. But after what we have seen at Vegas, Mercedes, by utilizing the 3 practice sessions during the weekend, will be able to find a perfect balance between downforce and straight line speed, as they did at Vegas. This with the W14 on its optimal ride height, the team will have a legitimate chance of challenging for podiums. Toto Wolff even believes the same, as he confirmed that he expects podium results at Abu Dhabi to secure P2 in the constructors. It's sad to say, but it was another race in which we had the necessary pace, but couldn't get the right results. We showed some pace here, and I hope that we can achieve 2 solid podium finishes in the next race. All these positives, what does it mean for 2024? This is the motivation the team needs, knowing that the direction they are working on is the correct one. Floor philosophies is one part which the Silver Arrows have struggled to get a proper grasp on since the inception of these ground effect regulations. But this new Austin floor has given both Hamilton and Russell much more confidence on to push the W14 to its limits. This just confirms that whatever the Silver Arrows are working for 2024, that is something which is going to produce a competitive machinery. But the floor just is not enough. The team needs to make massive changes to its top body aero, such as the side pods and the rear wing. Due to limitations posed by the W14's current chassis design, Mercedes were not able to introduce a B-spec the way the team wanted. As Toto said previously, the team has just been putting plasters on a leaking pot. Red Bull have proved that the undercut philosophy is the way to move forwards, so Mercedes will definitely take inspiration from that. Along that, the team will make redesigns to the chassis and to the car's suspension. For the chassis, the cockpit positioning will be altered, giving the team's aero department the opportunity to play with the side pods and the underfloor design. The suspension is where the next most importance will shift towards. Anti-dive and anti-squat will be introduced to create a uniform platform to aerodynamically aid the underfloor in the process of downforce generation. Also, to better work aerodynamics, Mercedes might adapt Red Bull's way of pull rods on the front and push rods on the rear. So what do you guys think? With what we have discussed so far in this video, what are your expectations for Mercedes at Abu Dhabi? Can Mercedes be competitive right from the word go at 2024? Very much into your thoughts and perspectives in the comments section down below. And on your way down, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of our future uploads, to keep yourselves up to date about the 2023 Formula One season.